In yet another bombshell revelation demonstrating how there is one standard for the Clintons and yet another for the rest of us little people, Representative Matt Gaetz revealed email evidence that the investigation into Hillary Clinton's email probe was anything but standard. Emails from FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe state the probe was coded HQ Special. That term in and of itself is terminology used to indicate the probe in no way followed standard investigative procedures, likely softening the Bureau's findings. These bombshell revelations concerning just how deeply rooted the corruption is within the Department of Justice and the FBI is truly astounding, and it is becoming more and more clear every day that there is one set of rules for some in Washington and yet another set of rules for the rest of us. Gaetz stated on Fox News America's Newsroom Friday, "We have email evidence from Andrew McCabe indicating that Hillary Clinton was going to get an HQ special, a headquarters special. The Judiciary Committee is engaged in an investigation, particularly as it relates to the handling of the Hillary Clinton email scandal and any potential investigations of the Clinton Foundation and the handling of bribes or other types of improper payments." McCabe met with both the House Oversight and Judiciary Committees in closed-door hearings on Thursday.
This is a Fox News alert. FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe back on Capitol Hill yesterday in his third closed-door hearing this week. After the House Intel Committee grilled him all day Tuesday, McCabe spent the day before the House Judiciary and Oversight panels being asked about James Comey's handling of the Russia investigation and the probe into Hillary Clinton's emails. Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida is a member of the Judiciary Committee. Joins me now live. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Okay. It's a lot of time spent behind closed doors this week, with presumably more to come. I know you can't tell us about what was being asked and answered in that room, but can you tell us where this is all going to go from here?
Well, the Judiciary Committee is engaged in an investigation, particularly as it relates to the handling of the Hillary Clinton email scandal and any potential investigations of the Clinton Foundation in the handling of bribes or other types of improper payments. I can certainly say that my impression after these interviews is that there was extreme pro-Hillary Clinton bias that benefited her in this investigation and that she received special treatment as a consequence of her candidacy for president. That shouldn't happen. The law should apply equally to all Americans, whether they're political candidates or not, and so we need to institute reforms through the Judiciary Committee for more oversight, more transparency, so that this never happens again.
I wanted to get your reaction to something. A Democratic Representative, Sheila Jackson Lee, who has been in one of these rooms, did step out of the McCabe testimony yesterday to speak to reporters who are, all eager to learn more about the investigation, find out what we can. I want to get your reaction to what she said. Let's listen.
This gentleman's potential firing, from my perspective, is a red line in the sand for the president, for the FBI director, the Attorney General, and the Deputy Attorney General. You cannot dismantle a law enforcement officer on political beliefs and political attitudes and political disagreements and political bias.
Strong opinion there. What do you think?
Well, no one's going to accuse Ms. Jackson Lee of being a moderate. I mean, she's a hyper-partisan Democrat, and she's making the same statements she's consistently made, whether the facts support them or not. Our view is that we need to find out whether or not the procedures were departed from. And we have email evidence from Andrew McCabe indicating that Hillary Clinton was going to get a HQ special, a headquarters special. That meant that the normal processes at the Washington field office weren't followed, and you had a very small group of people that had a pro-Hillary Clinton bias who had a direct role in changing the outcome of that investigation from one that likely should have been criminal to one where she was able to walk. And so I think that we've got to ensure that that never happens again, that the same processes that would apply to any American would also apply to people who are running for president of the United States.
Yeah, I was reading through some of the articles about what's been happening there in Washington. We've been hearing some Republicans have been dissatisfied with some of the responses they are getting. Is that why this is going into the multi-hour
No, look, we're not dissatisfied as Republicans. Look, we got an economy that's growing. Illegal immigration has been reduced by more than half. We've got historic tax cuts. If we have a year in 2018 like we had in 2017, we're going to be tired of winning. And so I think that there's a good enthusiasm in our party as it relates to these investigations. We just want to follow the facts. We want to see if we've got the right systems and processes in place for reporting and transparency so that the American people have confidence in the FBI and confidence in the Department of Justice. and we can't have a bunch of political autocrats there trying to undermine the duly elected president of the United States. That's what we're fighting for, rule of law and fair democracy where we get to actually have the president we elected.
Okay, last answer real quick. I want to ask you, how long do you think this will go on? Is there going to be a date set? Do you have it in your mind when this will end?
My expectation is that within the first quarter of next year, we'll have a dispositive conclusion evidencing absolutely no collusion between the president's campaign and Russia. I think it may take some time beyond that to really ensconce the reforms at the FBI and at the Department of Justice so that we don't have circumstances that leave America vulnerable to this type of a political takeover of these critical institutions.
All right, Representative Matt Gaetz, we want to thank you for your time and your insight on this. Happy holidays to you and yours.
Happy holidays and Merry Christmas.
Gaetz explained a headquarters special was an indication that the normal processes at the Washington field office weren't followed, and he had a very small group of people that had a pro-Hillary Clinton bias, who had a direct role in changing the outcome of that investigation from one that likely should have been criminal, to one where she was able to walk. Gaetz went on to explain the Judiciary Committee is engaged in an investigation, particularly as it relates to the handling of the Hillary Clinton email scandal, and any potential investigations of the Clinton Foundation and the handling of bribes or other types of improper payments. I think we have to ensure that never happens again, that the same processes that would apply to any American would also apply to people who were running for President of the United States. We just want to follow the facts. We want to see if we've got the right systems and processes in place for reporting and transparency, so that the American people have confidence in the FBI and confidence in the Department of Justice. Then there was confirmation from the Wall Street Journal demonstrating that the corruption went all the way to the top. The Obama administration was not only aware of Hillary Clinton's private email server issue, they were in close contact with the Hillary presidential campaign as early as the beginnings of 2015, assisting in damage control. This is from recently disclosed emails from top Obama administration officials as they discussed potential fallout from the former Secretary of State's use of a private email server. Email discussions included requests from the White House Communications Direction to her counterpart at the State Department, to see if it was possible to arrange for Hillary's successor as Secretary of State John Kerry, to avoid any questions during media engagements and press conferences about Hillary's email arrangements. Top State Department officials even went so far as to assure Hillary's attorneys that they had not advised Congress of any wrongdoing on Hillary's part regarding the use of a private email account. These previously unreported emails were obtained as part of a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit from Judicial Watch seeking records from Hillary's tenure as Secretary of State. The Republican National Committee only released a portion of the emails to the Wall Street Journal. What was in the remaining documents is unclear. The RNC has refused to release any additional emails, stating that it will release only relevant communications between the White House and the State Department. Then there is McCabe himself. His wife, a Democrat, naturally, ran for Virginia Senate and received some funds from groups tied to Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe. Many have pointed to this as significant bias when those charged to investigate corruption are receiving funds directly from the person most likely to be affected by the outcome of the investigation. In the real world, we call that bribery. Deceased Justice Antonin Scalia rightly noted there is a great risk that the people most eager to join a special prosecutor's staff are those who are burning to take down the person under investigation, and these texts certainly raise that concern to a significant degree combined with revelations of political donations and former associations. It is unclear just who decides what is or what is not relevant with respect to these communications, or just what else is being hidden by Hillary's minions. It seems every day we find out more just how much corruption is in Washington.